Easiest path to the national championship. Georgia. As the number 1 seed, Georgia gets a first-round bye. In the quarterfinals, they'll face either Notre Dame or Indiana at the Sugar Bowl. If they win, the semifinal matchup could be against Boise State, Penn State, or SMU, which are all lower-seeded teams. With a relatively favorable schedule, Georgia is in a good position to make the national championship game in their home state of Georgia. Texas. The Longhorns, ranked number 2, will host the lowest-ranked team, Clemson, in the first round. Then, they'll face Big 12 champion Arizona State in the quarterfinals at the Peach Bowl. The toughest matchup in their path to the semifinals would likely come from Oregon, Ohio State, or Tennessee, but Texas's schedule is manageable compared to other teams. Boise State. The Mountain West champions are rewarded with a bye in the first round. In the quarterfinals, they'll face either Penn State or SMU at the Fiesta Bowl. The winner of this matchup will face Georgia, Indiana, or Notre Dame in the semifinals, while Boise State will have tough competition in the quarterfinals. The team's favorable positioning in the bracket could set them up for a deep run. Penn State. As the Big Ten runner-up, Penn State has a relatively easy path in the first round with a home game against SMU, the last at-large team to make the field. If they advance, they'll face Boise State in the quarterfinals, and then a possible matchup with Georgia, Notre Dame, or Indiana in the semifinals. Penn State's route to the championship is more favorable compared to other teams outside the top 4. Hardest path to the national championship. Indiana. As the lowest-ranked at-large team, Indiana faces the toughest road to the national championship. First, they must defeat Notre Dame on the road in the first round. Then, they'll face Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, and if they manage to get through that, they'll meet either Boise State, Penn State, or SMU in the semifinals. Every game is a tough challenge, making Indiana's path the most difficult. Tennessee. The Vols are in a similar situation, facing a tough first-round road game against Ohio State. If they win, they'll have to play undefeated Oregon at the Rose Bowl in the quarterfinals. Even if Tennessee survives that, they'll likely face Arizona State, Texas, or Clemson in the semifinals. Tennessee's chances of making the final are strong, but the road ahead is filled with tough matchups. Clemson. As the number 12 seed, Clemson has a difficult first-round road game at Texas. If they somehow manage to get past that, they'll face Arizona State in the quarterfinals and would likely meet Oregon in the semifinals. With all games on the road and tough opponents, Clemson's path is one of the hardest in the bracket. SMU. SMU must travel to Penn State for the first round, where they will face a tough environment and a strong opponent. If they pull off the upset, they'll face Boise State in the quarterfinals. In the semifinals, they could face Georgia, Indiana, or Notre Dame, all of whom are difficult matchups. SMU's road to the championship game is difficult but not impossible.